What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and watch the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. And I think it goes without saying that this is one of the most important, most highly viewed, one of the just the biggest funerals, certainly of my lifetime, possibly of any lifetime. It's one of the biggest events in recent history. And I think it's deserving of that, right? Quite honestly. It's become more and more apparent to me the more I've learned about this how important and big of a figure that Queen Elizabeth was in the UK, in the world, how important she was to so many people, and how losing her was so personal and so, it felt like really the passing of a family member or something, right? It's like a mother figure, a grandmother figure to so many people and families across the world. It's quite incredible. And it's hard to believe that the funeral, is already here, but at the time that I'm watching this, it's already happened. It was streamed on YouTube. That's why it's going to be one of the most watched funerals of all time. It's occurring in the modern day. This funeral, I have a stream of it pulled up, was 9 hours where you could literally watch every second of it. That's amazing. That's actually really cool. Anyway, I just wanted to run through a little timeline here of all the events that took place earlier today with the funeral. I wasn't aware that there were quite so many things, quite so many ceremonies left to do, a lot of processes to transport the Queen's coffin. I believe at the beginning of today, Westminster Hall, where, gosh, untold thousands of people, thousands from all over, have been going to pay their respects to Queen Elizabeth's coffin. That's a whole other thing that I could just get into for far too long. Just the amazement of the outpour of respect and honor towards visiting her coffin. Thousands of people waiting. I mean, if you read here, 6:30 a.m. The Queen's lying in state ended. Her closed coffin has been in public view at Westminster Hall since Wednesday, came to an end this morning. 300,000 people queued to pay their respects. Absurd. Wait times reaching 17 hours. I think for a lot of people, it was more than 17 hours. And they waited. My God, they waited. It meant a lot to a lot of people, and they went and saw it, and that's incredible. Moving on towards 8 a.m., that Westminster Abbey opened for congregation. Yes, so the first step in this was transporting the Queen's coffin from Westminster Hall to Westminster Abbey. And here they opened the Abbey and the gathering of the heads of state, the royalty, everyone, all these hugely high ranking individuals from all over the world coming in to well, here I have pulled up sort of this first part of the stream that I noticed what kind of lined up with what we're talking about right now. All of these people gathering in Westminster Abbey. So let's take a look at that.
The music today will include pieces specially commissioned for the service, as well as hymns sung at both the Queen's coronation and at her wedding service at Westminster Abbey.
Oh wow, they're actually talking about the music. That's amazing, and actually makes a lot of sense. There's so many details like that, I bet, that go into this that most people are never going to know. So many incredible people working to make this funeral so beautiful and so incredibly organized, safe, secure. That was a big deal with a lot of this.
To mark her 90th birthday, the Queen listed her 10 favourite pieces of music.
I'm probably gonna skip around a bit in this replay because I'm sorry, but I'm not I'm not about to sit here for 9 hours and watch the entire thing. All due respect, I just want to, in a timely manner, pay what I can in terms of respect towards the Queen, observe parts of her funeral, all the major points, I suppose.
And now we see more representatives of foreign governments, among them the President of Tanzania.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure there's hundreds of people at the, this is the funeral, and I think later they're going to transport the coffin to, Windsor, if I'm saying that correctly. Windsor, where they're going to have another service before ultimately moving her towards the final burying site. Yeah, I believe you have a lot of heads of state and presidents and prime ministers and all sorts of people coming to this funeral, gathering here right now in this room. And then I read a couple hundred notable citizens of the UK for their service to the crown were invited as well. That'd be interesting to learn about them, who those people are, who got invited.
The first woman president of that country, a member of the Commonwealth.
I'm just going to jump around a little bit here.
Truman as Princess Elizabeth in 1951.
President Biden.
She met 13.
It's funny, because you don't, as an American, I don't ever get to see President Biden, like, in this room. Everyone is a president. That's what I'm trying to say. He's president of the United States, but almost everyone in this room is a super powerful, influential, political head of state. So it's kind of funny seeing it in this context. Everyone's there. Everyone's like, everything's been equalized, right? Everyone's just there to pay their respect to the Queen. It's not about anything else. I think that's an awesome part of this whole thing.
Of the last 14 US leaders during her reign, all except for Lyndon B. Johnson.
Gonna skip forward a little bit.
Decorated for his bravery during the Iraq War.
Possibly a UK soldier who was decorated and invited to the funeral. Yes, so that was just everyone kind of gathering for the funeral, whereas the Queen's coffin is still about to be transported from Westminster Hall to Westminster Abbey, I believe, according to the timeline. Check the timeline here. Heads of state. As the Abbey opened, the King's Guard trooped through the gates of the building with 2 soldiers stationed at the metal gates awaiting the start of the proceedings. At 9:30, Westminster Abbey's bell started to toll once every minute, 96 times, in the run-up to the funeral service, marking every year of the Queen's life. That's amazing. That is so cool. So if we notice a bell in the background at any point, that's going off every minute. 96 times for the 96 years of the Queen's life. That is very cool. The Queen's coffin is carried by gun carriage. I was wondering what that carriage was when I was watching some of the proceedings earlier in the week. It looked like a cannon or something. I'd never seen anything like it. Beautiful, but it makes a lot more sense to me to know it's a gun carriage. So if we go back to the stream, I imagine they're going to start transporting the coffin. Yeah, I mean, look at this.
These processions are very solemn events. We're talking about a state funeral. So the reason we're giving you all of that information online, especially to do with individuals, is because we don't really think it's appropriate to talk over lots of these processions.
Yeah.
And I hope that you understand why we're saying that.
Well, I'm going to end up talking over some of these processions. I mean no disrespect to the Queen, but I am here to give my sort of American perspective on it all. So I hope you forgive me. I'm going to skip forward a little bit.
That's the plan, and I hope that Communication Secretary to
skip forward a little bit, just probably until we see the Queen's getting transported. Oh, it looks like everyone's gathered in Westminster Hall. Look at this. This is just awesome. This motorway, how it's been decorated. That is just awesome. More people. Military personnel getting ready. Ah, here we go. So they're loading her coffin onto the gun carriage to transport the Queen to Westminster Abbey. There was the bell in the background. Every minute. 96 times. Be quite an honor to be one of the pallbearers here. One of the men getting to actually be trusted to physically transport the coffin, pick it up, put it down. That'd be quite an honor. This part does remind me of American military proceedings. With the very organized movement. Wish I knew what the different uniforms meant. Oh, it says Royal Navy on these individuals in the front and back of the carriage. So that's the UK Royal Navy. Interesting. I'm not really familiar at all with all the parts of the UK military. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit just to when they've started moving, I think. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. All the flowers, the crown. Yeah, this is something. I wonder why the bagpipes. Is that have a traditional or historical meaning to the crown? Americans really associate bagpipes with Scotland or Ireland. Perhaps that has something to do with it. Very nice, though. I'm going to go ahead a little bit just because I don't actually know how far they have to march. The Queen to get from Westminster Hall to Westminster Abbey, if it's a mile or I don't know. But I don't think I'm going to watch the entire march, but I will skip a little bit. I can see the royal family in the back. Pretty incredible. Gonna skip ahead a little bit more. Okay, is this Westminster Abbey? If that's the case, it didn't take them all that long to actually walk there. Well, they're walking by, or maybe not? No, they are halting here. I do believe they're going to enter here. Yes, indeed. You know, the feel of all this is not just sadness, as you might expect at a funeral, but there's just clearly so much respect and dedication being shown on display here that you actually get more of a like feeling of national like community of respect, and it's also elegant and beautiful that it's not
The Queen
as
is born to the Abbey, where she was married in 1947, crowned in 1953, where she attended royal weddings and funerals.
wow.
All, as with her own funeral today, part of the recurring seasons of death and renewal.
I actually didn't know that Westminster Abbey had so many events there that were so relevant, so historically important that the Queen experienced there. And now, sure enough, her funeral is going to take place there. That's actually kind of beautiful in a way. Oh, I was just saying earlier, this is all very sad, but you also it clearly comes across the love and admiration everyone involved in the funeral has for the Queen. So everyone, it's just a few hundred people, it looks like, attending the funeral. I do wonder if this is a religious funeral, and technically what religion, if there's a priests or bishops involved here in the actual funeral, what religion is involved. Wow, that is beautiful. That is live singing. That's clearly a live chorus. That is absurdly beautiful. Okay, I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit. Like I said, I don't want to be disrespectful, but this would take hours to watch it all. And I want to be able to kind of get a general sense of the entire day. Oh, there we have William and Harry. I know there was some controversy about Harry not being allowed to wear his like military uniform. I wasn't sure what that was all about, but it seems as though he's not, right? And Kate and Meghan. See, I'm learning. I'm slow at the uptake, but I'm learning all these things. Obviously a heartbreaking, sad day for them. We're literally talking about their mother, so all respect to them as well. Or I'm sorry, grandmother. They are the sons of Charles, if I'm not mistaken, who's the son of Queen Elizabeth. So this would be Harry and William's grandmother. Charles, King Charles, I should say. Wife and sister Anne, and I imagine his brothers. I'm not too familiar with them. Yeah, I've never even seen Westminster Abbey before, so this is also, I'm seeing this for the first time. It's just a beautiful cathedral, is it? They're calling it an abbey. I don't know technically what an abbey is. Wow, look at this shot. This is an amazing abbey. I'm going to call it an abbey. Westminster. The architecture. I mean, I'm just seeing this for the first time. And the fact that they stuck a camera on the ceiling is kind of amazing. It's a beautiful shot. Setting down the Queen's coffin. I'm just going to check the timeline to see if there's anything I should know at this point. Oh, the royal family followed the coffin in. King Charles, joined by the royal family, followed the coffin as it made its journey from Westminster Hall to Westminster Abbey. Yep, so we just saw that. The coffin was draped in the royal standard. That's good to know. Like, that's a detail I wouldn't even recognize. And carries the imperial state crown and a wreath of flowers containing plants from the gardens of Buckingham Palace. Wow. Clarence House and Highgrove House. Interesting. I don't know what those two houses are, though. The procession was also led by 299 pipers. Yes, I heard them. And drummers of Scottish and Irish regiments. Okay, I was wondering. That's what Americans associate pipers with, so I guess it's kind of the truth. If we go here, the procession arrives at Westminster Abbey. Yep. We are pretty much at this point. The Queen's Guard is the bearer party, so all those guys carrying the casket. Oh, 8 minutes, yep. The service begins, led by the Dean of Westminster, Dr. David Hoyle. The first lesson was read by Patricia Scotland, the Secretary General. Okay, so there's going to be many hymns, a sermon delivered by the Archbishop of Canterbury. I've heard of that. Describing the Queen as been joyful, present to so many, touching a multitude of lives. Absolutely true. I'll take a look back at the video to see if there's any of the hymns or the sermon, perhaps. Wow. It's also so rare to have all these such high-ranking officials from all over the world gathering in one place. That's pretty special, and could only really happen for something like this, something this important. I'm going to skip a little bit ahead.
Ye know him, and have seen him. Philip saith unto him,
I'm actually not sure who this individual is. Patricia Scotland, perhaps? If that's the first lesson? Not exactly sure. Gonna skip a little bit ahead.
Is round the world.
Oh, I imagine this is the Archbishop of Canterbury reading a sermon? Or it could be a hymn.
Who have themselves lost someone recently. But in this family's case, doing so in the brightest spotlight.
Yeah.
May God heal their sorrow. May the gap left in their lives be marked with memories of joy and life.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I'm glad he mentioned that. The life of the royals is a bizarre one, isn't it? Having all of this be in the most public of spotlights possible, perhaps. Rather strange, and obviously affects the way they can mourn but it's also, pretty incredible to see just how amazingly beloved your mother, your grandmother, was. So there are drawbacks and there are upsides to it, I imagine.
Her late Majesty's broadcast during COVID lockdown ended with, "We will meet again." Words of hope from a song of Vera Lynn. Christian hope means certain expectation of something not yet seen. Christ rose from the dead.
So this is a Christian funeral. That answers that question for me.
And offers life to all, abundant life now and life with God in eternity. As the Christmas carol says, where meek souls will receive him, still the dear Christ enters in. We will all face the merciful judgment of God. We can all share the Queen's hope.
I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit. I'm sure he had a lot of beautiful words to say. Well, I did want to hear his closing statements.
We will meet again.
Yep. Just like the Queen said, like he said, Elizabeth said in her closing address during COVID. That's a very nice way to look at it, right? We will meet again. So beautiful. The singing, I mean. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Actually, I'm going to check the timeline. Now that we saw a little bit of the sermon by the Archbishop of Canterbury, the choir sang My Soul. They're singing that right now. That's the song they're doing right now. And subsequently, a series of church leaders offered prayers. It's very nice. The Church of Scotland's Reverend Dr. Ian Greenshields offering thanks for the Queen's long life and reign. That's for sure. Very long life and reign. That was one of the many blessings that she had. And her gifts of wisdom, diligence, and service. Absolutely. The Archbishop of York offered thanks for the Queen's unswerving devotion to the gospel. The leader of the Roman Catholic Church in England and Wales, Cardinal Vincent Nichols, gave thanks for the rich bonds of unity and mutual support she sustained. Yes. The congregation then sang the third hymn, and Welby has now given the commendation, a prayer that entrusts the souls of the deceased to God. At 11:55, the last post plays, followed by a 2-minute silence. And then the state funeral came to an end. I'd like to see a little bit of the end of it, right? That would be nice.
The soul of Elizabeth, our late Queen. Heavenly Father, King of Kings.
So he's reading one of the prayers, I believe. Oh, look at this. Is this nearby? People watching, like on a screen? Oh, look at this. Wow. Hyde Park. Hyde Park, London. I'm not sure exactly where that is. I'd like to know, though. Hyde... Is this a famous park? Hyde Park in London. Let's see how far it is from Westminster Hall. See how far they are. Oh, it's quite far. Huh. Wait a minute. What? Where? did it find a Hyde Park and a Westminster Hall in the United States? Are you kidding me? Oh, what? You're joking that it found that. That's absurd. Hyde Park. London. Please, Google. Please. Work with me here. Oh, Westminster Hall. Not Indiana. Oh my gosh. Westminster, London, UK. Okay. Oh my gosh. 9 minutes away. Quite close. Very close by. Watching the funeral in person, but on a screen. You know, it's nice because it's the community kind of watching it together. I think that's awesome. Oh, is this the moment of silence for 2 minutes? Yes. Everyone kind of paying their final respects in a way. Okay. I was trying to kind of shut up for a second and pay my own kind of respect. Last post sounded? No, it was the 2 minutes of silent. The national anthem has been sung. I don't know if they've done that already or not. God Save the King now, right? Had to change it. God Save the King. And then the coffin will be carried to Wellington Arch. Huh. So the coffin's going to be placed in the state hearse at Wellington Arch after this. And then the state hearse is going to drive it to Windsor. I know Windsor is kind of the final end of the road location. Thousands of people gathered in crowds to watch the journey. Yes. Okay, so let's try to watch the transportation at the end of this, perhaps? So this is pretty much the end of the funeral, transporting her out of it.
In loving and devoted memory, Charles R. The imperial state crown, the orb and scepter, the emblems of majesty and earthly power.
I've never seen this orb and scepter. Very royalty, very queenly. I've never seen that. Maybe the scepter at one point. I'm sure it's only for very, very, very formal occasions.
Glinting and gleaming in the sunlight.
Okay, so they're going to load her back into the carriage and begin their march.
And Charlotte in one of the cars following this procession.
Yep. They're bringing her to the state hearse, I believe.
Your state crown and the orb and scepter will be part of the procession, and that royal standard which is draped over the Queen's coffin all the way.
This seemed like a much further journey this time around. Oh, here we go. To this arch. Just gonna skip ahead a little. That is William and Kate's children, I believe. Royal Navy marching away. This is the royal hearse. Literally a royal car for transporting the coffin. Geez, that trunk got close to the coffin. Kind of made me a little nervous there. So, they're pretty much going to use this vehicle to transport the Queen to Windsor, if I understand correctly. So they're loading her in. I'll go back to the timeline. Yes. That was the Wellington Arch that we just saw. The King's Guard gave a salute, so they're about to do that. And they're going to drive to Windsor, which... Who is going to be at this service at Windsor, I wonder? And I'm not exactly sure what the purpose of this second service is. I think we just technically watched the funeral, but this is just another part of the funeral service coming up. Basically in the place where she's going to be laid to rest. So I know there's some things that have to go on there. I'll try to take a look at that. We're jumping several hours into the future, honestly. Here's the hearse.
That as we gather and as we watch this committal service, that each person will ask, what does this mean to me? What will my life be because of this?
Yeah, I'm sure man, I can't even begin to imagine what the individuals most affected by this, living in the UK, are thinking. And I'm watching this all with like a completely different point of view, in a way. Trying my best to understand, of course.
Kirsty, this empty road now, as the hearse approaches the middle of the long walk that leads up to Windsor Castle.
Okay, so they're like halfway there. The hearse drives quite slowly. I wonder if that's just how it is. And they basically have to mark off the entire journey with security. And although there's individuals on the side of the road here who get to kind of watch as it passes by, which is nice. If people in the UK can kind of gather at some point during this journey and watch the hearse go by, that's a nice moment.
Hearse there.
Yeah, we have an enormous crowd here. And the parade has become enormous as well.
Commander.
Wow. I mean, look how far back that goes. This is tens of thousands of people. Absolutely amazing.
We'll hear from the Mews of Windsor, the grooms who work in the Royal Mews, and this black Highland, I suspect, pony, Emma.
Is this a royal pony? Maybe the Queen... That was one of the Queen's ponies, maybe. Here we go. This looks like the entrance. Windsor. Oh, flowers on the hearse. That's nice. Gonna back it up a little bit. Here we go. Wow, look at this place. This is beautiful. You don't see any architecture like this in America, honestly, at all. So, this just so happens to be the Queen's funeral, but even just normally I'd be amazed by this. This is why they need such steady lads in charge of this. They always have to carry the coffin up 7 flights of stairs. It's honestly an extremely important job with a lot of trust involved.
The pallbearers on either side who we saw coming up the long walk.
The
Pursued
royal,
the coffin.
members of the royal family there?
waiting, they'll follow it into the chapel.
The royal family is going to follow them in. Okay. Yeah, there they go. Yeah, there's just been so many different events and procedures during this whole day. It's incredible. With everyone doing their job, everyone paying respect, hundreds, thousands of people involved in the funeral, with tens of thousands of people watching, like live in the UK, and then millions, of course, around the world watching. It's incredible. With her arrival here, the Queen is getting fairly close to the end of her journey before ultimately being buried in a royal vault, if I'm not mistaken. Look at this. Wow. These places are just beautiful. It's incredible. Going to skip ahead a little bit further. I don't know if these are all people here who were also attending the funeral earlier, and they all were able to transport to Windsor for this kind of part 2, or who exactly everyone is, besides the royal family, who of course would be in attendance to everything. Wow. This is a lot like the funeral service before, actually. I'm going to skip ahead a bit. More hymns, more beautiful singing, absolutely perfect singing, might I add, incredible. The scepter. I don't know if that gets passed down to another member of royalty, what they do with the crowns. I'm assuming the crown doesn't belong to Queen Elizabeth and that it is symbolically passed down to the next queen or king, or, you know, that's just how it would work. The crown never belongs to one person forever. And this orb, I actually didn't know anything about this orb. But perhaps this is kind of symbolizing the crown, scepter, and orb ceremonially actually being taken and passed along, taken from Elizabeth and now passed to the next successor. And of course Adobe wants to pop up right now and ruin it, but I won't let it. Incredible crown, by the way. Wow. Okay, so we're going to have another song.
Post.
And I'm not sure who this individual is. Maybe I'll check the timeline again. Oh, bagpipes. The state reaches Windsor. The king, accompanied by other members of the royal family, joined the procession at the quadrangle in the castle grounds, with members of the royal household positioned by the coffin. Yes, we saw all of that. The procession reached the steps. We saw all of that. It'll be attended by 800 guests. This committal service, we're calling this a committal service. And from here, the Queen's coffin will be lowered into the royal vault. And that is something we're not going to be able to see past that. I don't know if we even get to see her getting lowered or transported. Because her actual burial, final resting burial, that's something only her family gets to be a part of, I believe.
King, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith, and sovereign of the most noble order of the Garter.
So they're kind of talking about King Charles here. And it looks like they are exiting. At least some are.
King Chapel thunders Bach's Prelude and Fugue. The King takes his farewell, speaking to the Archbishop of Canterbury. The King so clearly moved by the service,
Yeah.
particularly the end where he laid the standard on the coffin and watched the coffin lowered into the ground, into the vault below.
Oh, well, I definitely want to see that.
Toast. United.
Wow, that's amazing. That's some amazing bagpipe playing. This must be one of the best bagpipers in the world. I'm not even kidding. I do want to see the lowering of the coffin if we can, and the laying the royal standard. Charles laying the standard, if we can. A lot of people exiting here. Did it already happen? Yeah, it did already happen. Huh. This is a little tricky to find. This was them, yes, taking all of the scepter and crown off. Huh. And singing a hymn. I wonder if they show it. I mean, does it get lowered into the ground right there where it is? Is there a trap door? I'm a little confused, actually. Exactly how this works.
Company camp color, which is used to identify the whereabouts of the commanding officer,
Here we go.
and he places it on the coffin.
Okay.
The Lord Chamberlain, the most senior member of the household, his duty done, breaks his wand of office and places it there too,
Huh.
and both will be buried with the coffin.
Wow. All sorts of ceremonial, highly symbolic acts that I've never seen. Is there any lowering?
As a father pitieth his own children, even so is the Lord merciful.
They're reading a psalm in respect to the Queen. Maybe that's not part of this. Maybe they kind of misspoke. I'm gonna jump forward a little bit. Oh, wait a minute.
All goodness of the Lord endureth for ever and ever upon them that fear him, and his righteousness
What?
upon children's children.
I mean, it's moving, right?
Go forth upon thy journey from this world, O Christian
Oh, yeah.
soul, in the name of God the Father Almighty, who created thee, in the name of Jesus Christ, who suffered for thee,
Wow.
in the name of the Holy Spirit, who strengtheneth thee. In communion with the blessed saints, and aided by angels and archangels, and all the armies of the heavenly host.
I mean, I just didn't expect this, honestly, because of the technology involved. This is such a beautiful historic place. I figured, well, there's no way they installed some kind of lowering mechanism in the floor, but they did. They definitely did. That's amazing. That actually makes it really, like, beautiful how it can be lowered from right there in the room. Kind of a final farewell to everyone. Wow.
May thy portion this day be in peace, and thy dwelling in the heavenly Jerusalem. Amen.
Thus it hath pleased Almighty God to take out of this transitory life unto his divine mercy the late, most high, most mighty, and most excellent monarch, Elizabeth II. By the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of her other realms and territories, Queen, Head of the Commonwealth, Defender of the Faith, and Sovereign of the most noble Order of the Garter.
Okay, and then we have the bagpiper here. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I didn't know what I was expecting, but I didn't expect that. And that's kind of the end of that ceremony. Then we had Charles outside talking to everyone.
Queen's coffin, which has been seen by so many thousands.
Oh, loading. Why are we loading now of all times? I mean, at least it's at the end that we're having loading issues
over these past days, lowered out of sight into the vault to lie later alongside the coffins of her husband, her mother, and her father and her sister.
I mean, Charles is driving away, so are they not going to do the final burial service until later, perhaps? He'll return with the family and do that? The coffin will be laid to rest in George VI Memorial Chapel, alongside Prince Philip and her parents, King George and Queen Mother. Yes. Wow. Wow. What can you say, right? I'm very happy that I was able to kind of jump around there. I hope it wasn't too jarring for you, but I was able to jump around there and get a pretty good, snapshot. A pretty good little, viewing of all the different parts of this funeral procession, this funeral day, I should say. And it was as beautiful as I thought it would be and more. Visually stunning, emotionally heavy, emotionally stunning. The outpour of support and dedication and respect from the people is something that has made the biggest impact on me that I've seen. Because a lot of Americans are inclined to think, oh, this is all just, a front. It's all just put on because it's royalty. You got to do it. It's tradition. What's the meaning behind it all? But no, I can see that there is a great deal of actual meaning in the sense of emotional connection, love for Queen Elizabeth, not just out of royal tradition to honor her, but out of genuine love for this person, which I think is one of the most incredible parts of it all. And that's something I've certainly learned by watching all of this coverage. Yeah, I'm glad I live in a day and age that I can just, hop onto the magic internet and appreciate all this. I'm able to do that, and that's pretty incredible. So, I'm hoping you enjoyed hopping on the internet and enjoying this with me, appreciating this with me. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to the United Kingdom, Great Britain, news, culture, events, stuff I have never seen ever before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.